really good. How do we even start this video? Ugh. Comfy. So in my years as a working wedding photographer, I've learnt that there are certain things that I cannot go to a wedding without. This isn't camera related, this is just practical things that every single wedding photographer on the planet needs. Stick around, it's my top 10-ish items. Okay, tip number 1, and this is a kind of a no-brainer. Every photographer ever, doesn't matter from this point forward, in the past, whatever, you need batteries and memory card, spare batteries and memory card. I'm not just talking turn up with one battery in your camera ready to roll the rest of the day. That's not going to cut it. Have 2, 3, 4 spare memory cards and batteries and all the rest of it. It is going to save your life. Don't be that guy that, you know, they're on the day and they're walking around and the camera dies and they turn around to a guest and say, "Can I borrow your camera?" They're going to look at you like you're an absolute idiot. And just don't be that guy. Same with your memory cards. If you fill it up because you haven't formatted it the day before, you know, you're going to look like a right idiot. And nobody appreciates an idiot at a wedding. Don't be that person. Be a professional and enjoy your job. Tip number 2. Time sync your cameras. Seriously. This is just like a huge thing. So at a wedding, personally, I walk around with 2 cameras at any one point. Both of them are time synced perfectly. The reason for this is pretty simple, really. When you get home and you back up all your images, etc., etc., and you put them into Lightroom. Now, depending on how you do this, you know, I do it once all my images are backed up onto separate hard drives and then import them. You might import them straight away, whichever, both is good. But the main point is, because the cameras are time synced, all your images then will flow throughout the day. So if you don't do this very basic thing, your images aren't going to sync up and it's going to be a nightmare for you to basically realign all those images in Lightroom. It's just a headache you don't need. For something that takes 10 seconds to actually just sync them up, make sure the seconds are synced up as well on both of them. It doesn't matter if it syncs up to your watch, so long as both cameras, or however many cameras you're using, are all time coded. It just saves so much hassle and time in the long run, especially if you're shooting, let's say, 5, 6 weddings in 1 month and then you've got the same again next month. You don't want to be wasting so much time syncing up all those images in Lightroom afterwards. That's a dog. Next tip, super easy one. Everybody's got a mobile phone, so there's no excuse in the world for this. Absolutely none. Basically, you should have Google Maps on there, and this is like your sat nav for the day. You might have a spare or a normal traditional sat nav in your car, and that's absolutely perfect. But have it on your phone as well. Seriously, guys, this is just a no-brainer, because the times you'll go somewhere, and if you haven't updated the software on your normal sat nav, you can damn well bet that your mobile phone updated maps on there. And yeah, because sometimes road layouts change, or you've got a new complex or whatever it is, or just something can go wrong. Don't take those chances. Make sure you have Google Maps on there. It works pretty much brilliantly, and it's something I use quite a lot. You know, I don't use it at every single wedding, but I use it at quite a lot of weddings, and it's an invaluable tool, and it's totally free, so what's not to like? It's kind of like a no-brainer. Okay, my next tip for mobile phones, we're sticking just with that for a second, is basically, I mean, if you look at my phone here, okay, so I've got images on here for different bridal prep situations, or, you know, just simple pictures. There's a Jerry Gear in this one, you know, Susan Stripling, and just all sorts of random pictures on here from different photographers around the world, and it could be detail shots, you know, and just all sorts of different lighting effects, because it's not, I'm not trying to copy a photographer, you know, down to the finest detail. The reason I have these on here is later in the day, if your mind is mush at this point, because it does happen, I promise you it will happen. If you've had a really long day, there's a lot going on, you're going to be like, oh my god, my brain hurts. And sometimes just having something on there to reference back to for ideas is huge. You know, it really helps you out on the day, and you don't have to go and start panicking going, oh my god, I haven't got my killer wow shot for the bride and groom. You know, you can just go back on here and go, okay, I can do something similar to that here at my venue, and it just saves you so much hassle. You still have to work out how you're going to achieve that shot, and it's never going to look identical to what somebody else has created in the past. So you're not essentially copying somebody's work, is what I'm trying to say. You're using it more for inspiration. I never agree with just ripping somebody off or stealing somebody's shots. Don't ever do that. But use it as inspiration more than anything else. Hell, try some of mine. I don't mind. I've borrowed images or that particular style from other people. But you know, if you look around, everything that you can possibly imagine has been done by every single photographer out there. So hello, Wiz. See, hello, Wiz. My dog. I don't think you can see him at the moment. So next tip is kind of again very much a no-brainer, and it's take some spare food with you, some drinks as well, bottle of waters, maybe a fizzy drink. You know, something high energy is always really good. Obviously, if you're diabetic, you should know these kind of things. But anything to boost up your energy levels later in the day is really advisable. My dog is pushing me around. Thank you, Wiz. It'll be a common feature. He's a daft old dog. But definitely have some food with you, just some snacks somewhere, because sometimes bride and grooms won't buy you meals, or they will, or the caterers will bring your food out really late, and then you've got to rush off, and then you've got to do speeches right at the end of the meal, and you've just literally got your food, and you're just running around like crazy, or you just got ram food in your mouth really quickly, get indigestion. It's just wise to have something there. And sometimes at the end of the day, you're just thinking, oh my god, I've got an hour's drive home now. Bottle of water, you're going to feel much better for it. It's a top tip. It's a no-brainer. You can just go to your local superstore or something like that, buy some cheap things, just keep them in your boots, ones that you know is going to last a while, and just leave them there. It's all good. Okay, next top tip is just take some deodorant with you to a wedding, just whatever brand that is that you prefer. Maybe have a little bottle of perfume, or aftershave or something in your bag. Just a little something just tucked away, because later in the day, especially if it's a really hot, sweaty day, you don't want to be that guy that's just minging by the end of it, because that will happen, I promise you, because you're running around all over the place, you're carrying heavy cameras. It's like you're doing a full workout. So definitely take something with you. You just want to refresh yourself, maybe just take yourself away for 2 minutes, have a quick spray, it's a little bit of a squirt, you're good to go, and continue. Because honestly, with guests, they'll notice these little things. If you walk up to someone and say, "Oh, can I take your picture?" and they go, "Ooh, no, I don't know, you smell bad. I'm going over there to the bar." That will happen. So don't do that. Just feel refreshed a little bit and continue. Nice and simple. Okay, tip. I'm not even sure anymore. But next tip is, quite simply, have something like this. It's a battery pack. It's just charge your phone. Simple. I don't need to explain this one. Okay, next one is really useful actually for weddings, for a couple of different reasons actually. And that's torches. Very simple torches. You can pick these up at petrol stations, gas stations, whatever you want to call them. But this is a couple of different type of ones. This one's actually got a magnet in the bottom, so it just attaches something and stay there. So at the end of the day, you're going out to your car park, especially if you're in the middle of nowhere, you're shooting in a barn or wherever, and it's really dark, and you just have one of these. You can pop it on your boot. It's just going to stay there, and you'll be able to pack your gear away in your car without worrying it going everywhere and rolling about and all that kind of stuff. Just super simple. And in a squeeze, I can actually use these to get shots of the bride and groom. Yes, absolutely I can. Actually, that sounds like a pretty good idea for a video, just showing how to use very simple things like this to get wicked shots. It can be done, I promise you. This one's a little different, so it's got like the zoom mechanism. You can pick these up, 10 quid. They're not expensive. They're absolutely brilliant. So yeah, you kind of get the idea. Boom. But what they are very good for is, and let me grab a camera. So it's an evening, you've got your kind of everything set up. It's a little bit dark outside, but you need to get focus on your bride and groom. How do you do this? Very simple. One of these. It's obviously the zoom mechanism. You kind of like through here, spotlight the couple, so you can obviously lock focus, spotlight them, take it away, and you've got perfect focus. And then you flash as a trigger, you know, if that's a shot you're going for. It's so ridiculously simple. Every photographer needs one of these. It's a no-brainer really, and it saves so much time and hassle. You don't have to worry about whether you got focus or chimping away or whatever. You just literally lock focus with the flash on and then take it away, then take your picture. Come on, doesn't get much more simpler than that. It's good. Okay, so this next tip is kind of seems a bit silly at first, but once I explain, it's going to make total sense, and that is spare clothes. I'm not talking about staying over, you know, hotel rooms, all that kind of stuff. I'm talking about, very simply, take a spare pair of trousers, or maybe even a spare top, because if something gets spilt over you, you don't want it sticking around all day, and you're looking like a complete idiot again. Again, the way you look at a wedding, people are going to take you more seriously if you're more presentable. But that's a whole different beast. That's your branding kind of side. But I'm just talking about making sure you look presentable. And the trousers thing is something really relevant actually, because when I first started doing weddings, seven and a half years ago, something like that, one of my very early weddings, and it's a little bit embarrassing on a funny kind of way, but I kind of set the group shot up, you know, nice and simple, nothing complex, and basically I kind of stepped back, kind of got everything in focus, kind of crouched down a little bit, rip front to back, all the way. I need to take spare trousers with me. It's just something I do at weddings, and yeah, and I don't want to have my arse crack on show. It's just not a good look. Let's move on. Okay, this is going to be my last tip, and I'll save the best for last, especially if you're inexperienced at weddings. This is just, I can't stress enough how important this is, and that's simply get a timeline for the wedding. And what I mean by this is contact your bride and groom maybe a week before the wedding, or however long you feel comfortable, and just simply ask them basically, what time is the ceremony? What time is the bridal prep? Where is it? Can I have contact details? You know, when's cutting the cake? When's the first dance? When speech is going to happen? Is it going to be before the meal? After the meal? Sometimes it's between like courses of the meal. Find out all these bits of information. Also, most importantly, get a list of group shots. You don't want to be in the situation where like 2 days after the wedding and the bride and groom contact you and say, did you get a picture of Uncle Bob and Aunt Mary? And you're like, well, no, nobody asked for it because you made up the list on the day. Make sure you get the list before the actual day, before you turn up. I personally, I've got a hidden page on my website. It's just a pre-wedding questionnaire. They fill it out, they click send, it comes through to me. I print it off and I'm good to go. And I do this for every single couple. I know a lot of photographers that already do this as standard, so it's not like something that I do that's individual to me. A lot of photographers will do this, but make sure you're also doing this. It's going to save you, again, it's just such a good idea, guys. If you don't do this, you're missing out. You're going to make it the day a lot more stressful for yourself, a lot more stressful for the bride and groom as well, because you keep going back and forth. Excuse me, what time is the cut of the cake? What time is the speeches? You don't want to do that. You know, make notes on there as well. What time is sunset? You know, if you want to go even further, is there going to be rain on the day potentially? You know, just jot it down the day before. You know, just do your homework a little bit. It pays dividends in the end. And so yeah, and the ultimate thing is just make it fun. That's what the wedding's about. Almost finished. So there you go, guys. That was my top 10 tips for wedding photographers that everybody must know without fail. There's no reason not to take these things. They're all super cheap. You've either got them already or you have to spend very little money. I take every single one of these things to the wedding, and I might not use every single one of them at weddings, and there is more you could do. Make sure you've got roadside assistance for your car. Come on, most people have got this, but you'd be amazed the amount of people that don't have it. So anyway, enough of that rubbish. I'm not going to ramble on anymore. If you like the video, remember, just click like. It's really good for me, and I'll make more videos soon. Cheers.